10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello everyone, this is Chris Rennert from Space Jockey Reviews, here today with Alexis Iacono. How are you today, Alexis?
I'm fine, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you. Okay, first I have to say that after so much Facebooking and Twittering with you, it's great to finally talk to you.
Likewise, with all the social networking and hashtagging and tweeting and poking, I'm very happy to finally speak with you. You have a voice. You have an actual voice. We're speaking. This is great.
Yes, I agree. Absolutely excellent. Okay, Alexis, I'm going to get right on into the interview with the question I ask everyone that always has a different and most unique answer. How did you get into acting?
Oh, that word, unique. I've been hearing this word the last 24 hours. Unique. I'm in LA, so everything is unique in LA. A pitch, an actor, an actress, everyone's unique. Not knocking it, not making fun of it, but I just find it very funny that this word is popping out of nowhere. Sorry, I had to mention that. Made no sense with the question. How did I get into acting? Well, I guess I'm going to abuse and oversaturate this term also, but it sort of fell into my lap. I was 10 months old. I'm born in New York City, raised in Queens. So I lived in Bayside. So it was a very melting pot, community. So we lived across the street from a talent manager, and I was 10 months old, and manager called my mom and said, listen, I think your daughter might be perfect for this commercial. Long story short, I wound up getting it, and it was the Purina Rolston oatmeal cereal commercial, not Purina. Everyone thinks it's Purina, the dog food. I clearly was not a dog in this commercial. I like to find myself as an actor and molding into roles, but clearly I wasn't that good at 10 months old. So it was I played an American Indian baby, and I was in this papoose, and that's how I really wound up getting my SAG card.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was the beginning of my adventure.
Yes. Well, even though the word unique, I agree, is very overused, I must say that is unique for sure.
Well, mission accomplished.
All right. Yes. I agree. Okay. Alexis, who are some of your influences or role models?
Well, I had the opportunity to meet one of my role models, and his name is John Cassavetes.
Oh.
And don't ask me, at a very young age, I was 8 years old, and I wound up watching Tempest. That was on HBO, and it was with a very young Molly Ringwald, a Raul Julia, a very young Susan Sarandon, and this actor that absolutely caught my eye at a very young age, and it was John Cassavetes. And 8-year-olds are supposed to have normal crushes. Clearly, this was not a normal crush. I asked my mom about him. Is he single? Is he been? No, I'm kidding. I just wanted to know about him, and my mom had this keen idea. And so, well, if you liked him in this movie, you're going to love him in this movie called Rosemary's Baby. And so I'm from a very, a worldly family. So 8 years old, popping in Snow White wasn't that didn't happen. It was Rosemary's Baby, and clearly I had no idea what Rosemary's Baby was about until I caught on. And for all of you that don't know Rosemary's Baby, rent it. Yes. So anyway, yes, I wound up having this odd fascination with John Cassavetes. About a year later, maybe less, we had to travel abroad to London, and I'm sitting down in my seat and looking around. I was always a people watcher, always observing, and I turn around, and a few aisles up, I wound up making perfect eye contact with John Cassavetes.
Oh, wow.
And I whipped my head around really fast, and I looked at my mom. I said, Mom, John Cassavetes is on the plane. And she said, Alexis, stop with the John Cassavetes, because I was obviously like always talking about this man. And so I wound up talking about this in an interview a while back from Yarn Audio Works. But to cut short, I said, no, it's him. And she winds up turning around, and she locks eyes with him, and she sits down and says, holy shit, it's John Cassavetes. And yes, I did approach him. I waited until the plane, took off, and I walked right up to him, and I complimented on his work. And he's staring at me, and he's like, really, what movies have you seen me in? He said, because, and, he's a bit of a curmudgeon-y guy, but he had this crooked smile on him, that Cassavetes crooked smile.
Yes.
Like he was testing me, but it was like poking fun. And damn, I was on. I knew my movies. I knew my Cassavetes movies. And he's like, and what movie did you see me in? And I said, Tempest. I said, it's been on HBO over and over and over. And, little did I know, there was this blonde woman sitting next to him, and it was Jenna Rollins.
Oh.
And yeah, and so we had our wonderful talk. I told him he was great in Rosemary's Baby, and he said, and I actually used these very mature words. I remember clearly. I said, "Oh, but by far you were great in Rosemary's Baby," and he just looked at me up and down, and he just like. I have to admit, I'm going to give myself this credit. I think it's very difficult to have John Cassavetes be speechless. I think I conquered that for sure. He had no words. So my influences were always on the deeper and darker side of things. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do have my Snow White movies, and I have my cartoons, and I was a very normal girl, but with always a very deep and colorful side, and John Cassavetes had a lot to do with it.
Okay, well, that's unique again. That's 2 in a row, Alexis. You're just on a roll here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the first big movie you're in that I'd like to talk about is one that I've unfortunately not seen yet, but definitely want to see and review, as you know, and that is The Black Dahlia Haunting, in which you play the part of the Black Dahlia.
Yes, I do.
How did you get this role?
Well, it was actually very quick. It was very fast. But I met Devanny Pinn, who was one of the creators and the star of the film, who did a fantastic job.
Yes.
I worked with her in Lee Scott's Penny Dreadful Picture Show about a year and a half ago with Sid Haig and Jeffrey Combs and just a bunch of cool cats. And Devanny and I had the opportunity and experience to be trailer mates for the whole entire run of the film.
Oh.
And we always had this inside joke because we yelled at Paul. Well, jokingly, we yelled at Paul Mullen, the producer of Penny Dreadful, like, why would you put 2 guineas in a trailer? Are you out of your mind? Like, there's gonna be crazy shit going on. You put two Ginzos in a trailer together. I'm like, it's just not gonna be normal. So we looked at each other, both, Jersey, New York chicks. No one knows that about Devanny. I'm totally like, throwing her under the bus. And we stared at each other, and basically we read our minds. It was like, bitch, we're either going to love each other or we're going to freaking hate each other. Like, there's not going to be that in between at all. And of course, the rest is history. Fell in love. And by the end of the shoot, she's like, I want to work with you again. And, and I say this story a lot, but it's true. And I own this story, and I'm not exaggerating. You hear that a lot. And not that I thought Devanny was fake in any way, but you hear, oh, I want to work with you. I want to work with you. And, just, it doesn't happen. People mean well. And I'm sure I've said that a few times, but, she kept her word, and she said, when are you going to be in LA? And I said, in about 3 months after holiday, because Penny was shooting in October, so it was like in that in-between time of Thanksgiving and Christmas. So I get to LA, we meet up, we reconnected and bonded, and she's like, meet me at this event, and we sit down at this event, and she looks at me, and she's like, Brandon and I are putting together the Black Dahlia. And we would like you to play Dahlia.
Oh. Okay.
And I didn't have a script. I didn't know what it was about. When I heard Dahlia, when I heard about Elizabeth Short, because everyone knows it's, it is a true story, the most unsolved murder in American history. Once I heard Dahlia, I didn't even know what it was. I was like, I'm in. And she's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm in. I trust you guys. Brandon Slagle, who's a brilliant director, a writer, and a talent of an actor, very, very, very extremely stupidly underrated actor, and his time to rise is soon himself. But yeah, once I saw those two together, and once I knew they were working together on a project, I was like, tell me when and where, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it appears from what I've seen that the movie is taking place in the present, and the Black Dahlia is more of a ghost. My question is one that I wondered about ever since I first heard about the movie. How many, if any, facts from the original murder case and the life of the victim, Elizabeth Short, are included in the movie?
I want to say without exaggeration, like almost the whole entire thing, the whole role of me is absolutely true. I mean, clearly, there wasn't a haunting. Like, we don't know. I'm sure people, have been haunted. Like, right after we did the movie, Britt Griffith is in the movie who's on Ghost Hunters, and the Ghost Hunters happened to be, doing that investigation during our press time for Dahlia here for Shock Fest. So it was a very fitting time. The show was perfect. It helped us. For the movie. So thank you, Ghost Hunters, very much for the awesome PR. But obviously there were some hauntings and stuff, and it was a very good episode if you get to catch it. The guys did a great job doing that, and so obviously I'm sure there were hauntings. So that part of the movie was not true, but my role itself, the way that she was murdered. There's a scene between Jessica Cameron and I. Jessica plays Marilyn Monroe in a scene, and there is truth behind that. Before Marilyn was Marilyn, she was more like Norma Jean Baker, and I was Elizabeth Short. For a very short time, they were in passing. So did Brandon maybe perhaps exaggerate a little bit and make it a scene? Sure, possibly. I mean, the scene is a very deep scene, so that part wasn't true about talking about a very important scene, which I don't want to give too much away. But it was that time and era passing of mingling and hanging out, and so there were many, many truths to my character. There was the torture scene, and like I said, I don't want to give too much away, but we shot it in an S&M dungeon. From our knowledge, Dahlia was not murdered in an S&M dungeon, but there were theories about this man Hodel, who was a doctor that had a chamber, and we feel that he did murder her. So there are many truths and questions to it, but yeah, I can solid. I'm solid about the fact that a lot of it in the film, my character especially, there are truths, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Not that you would need to do this for a horror film, but did you perhaps do any extra research yourself about the life of Elizabeth Short in preparing for your role playing her?
Well, here's not to cut you off because I already know where you're going with this, because a lot of actors are pegged as, horror, show your big tits, especially the fake ones, and scream. Listen, not knocking those people. So I just, more power to you. I'm not knocking it. That's a genre. Horror's never, no pun intended, it's never going to die. It's a great genre. There are different visions and different ways that people express, directors and writers and actors express horror. But horror sort of fell into my lap. I am not a horror actress. I am an actress. And not to sound, stern and all actory and theatery on you, but I am an actress. So this was given to me, and this was a psychological horror film. And I'm embracing every minute of it because, as of late, this genre did fall into my lap. But at the end of the day, I don't look at it as a horror-themed anything. I look at it as, I love this script. I'm enjoying my time. I am an actress. Absolutely, the answer to your question, I try my best. And so far, I feel, people can judge and say their own thing, their own opinions. But the roles that I have portrayed in the past and portray now, these are gusto roles. These are true roles that I only pick roles, and so far the roles have picked me of where I have to do research. Whether I have a line, a small part in Blue Caprice, which we'll get to that, there's a reason why I say that, to a lead, I always do the research, even if my role is insignificant, which is not true, every role is significant. But I always do research, and that's why I'm an actor, because I love the research. The horror movies and the psychological films that I like to say that I'm in will always have to have research. Devaney and especially Brandon, he doesn't do stupid movies. And like I said, not knocking, not trying to say that horror's stupid, but you know where I'm going with this.
Yes, I do.
There are different types of genres of films and horror, and I'd like to say whether people knocked Dahlia or enjoyed Dahlia, working with Brandon and Dev, these are smart horror films. These are smart psychological films. They're well written, and these are not silly roles. So yeah, I think horror now is becoming smarter. There's still going to be that, the silly porn type, horror films with the screaming and all that BS, which is fine. But to me, that's not smart. That's just, eye candy, which is great. We all need that. But I think right now the industry is changing for the better when it comes to horror. There's a lot of very good high-end horror that is being seen. Jessica Chastain, who is a fine actress, who, by the way, is another inspiration. I look up to her. She's wonderful. She was in a horror film. So I think it's changing a bit for the better, and you need to be, not saying that I'm, Sir Laurence Olivier, but not to be preachy, but you need to be on your game for horror. People don't realize that even, and I'm sticking up for the girls that show their tits and scream, you got to know your shit. You got to scream on cue. You got to be physically fit to be in horror. And from low end to medium end, which, Dahlia's in, we're not super high end, and you get to see the movie. We are low independent feature. I'm not trying to make this into a Schindler's List movie, but there, you need to be good in what you do, especially in horror. You got to scream on cue. You got to cry on cue. You got to be running around like a lunatic and make sure that chainsaw really doesn't cut off your leg.
Yes.
So yes, the long answer to, yes, I absolutely researched Elizabeth Short from beginning to end. My mother sent me books because at one point she was very much into Dahlia, so I knew about it in the house. And I wound up doing some research on my own. I sat at the Formosa Cafe. Formosa Cafe was a very well-known cafe in the 1920s to the 60s, and still is now, but clearly not the same stature. But it's still around, and Lana Turner, Frank Sinatra, you name it, they were there. And I mention this in the article that I write because I'm also a contributor writer for Fangoria magazine. And Chris Alexander approached me and pitched me this idea because the horror genre, oversaturated word, term, fell into my lap and said, listen, you seem to be doing this, horror stuff, write about it. So I'm now a contributor writer, and I write, as an actress, experiencing these, the horror, the sets that I'm on and the characters that I play. So I write a whole big thing. If people are interested, type it in Google because it's the online site for Fangoria, Black Dahlia. I guess you can type in my name, Alexis Iacono, Alexis Iacono, and Dahlia, and I write about my experiences. And what the Formosa Cafe was known for was you get the A-list actors that hung out there, you get the B-list actors, which was like the Vincent Prices and, the Bela Lugosi's, which were very, very legit in their own right, and then you get the wannabes, and that's unfortunately where Elizabeth Short fell. In category. She was a wannabe. She was not an actress. People thought, she was this actress and aspiring. No, absolutely not. She was this gal that was incredibly lost in her soul and in her space, and was just a wanderer trying to probably figure out her own. And but she fell into this crowd, and it's very easy to be a lost soul in this world and mingle with the best. And I've always experienced that, and as of late I've experienced a lot of that, and it's quite scary, because you don't want to be a lost soul. And you know, I hope that, you know, I'm not a lost soul, but you get to experience certain things, and it hasn't changed. I have, as of late, been introduced to a lot of Elizabeth Shorts that have been walking around, and it pains me. It actually, like, I don't laugh about it. I don't talk down to it, and I don't make fun of it. I actually go away with a coldness in my soul, and I say a prayer. I say a prayer for everyone that feels lost out there. It's unfair, it's scary, but there are true Elizabeth Shorts running around. So I did do my research, and I started from Formosa Cafe, and I wound up getting a phone number to call Charlie Morphin, who does the Black Dahlia tours. He confided in me, and he took me under his wing, and he basically from A to Z knew everything about Dahlia. And thanks to Charlie Morphin, that's how I rediscovered Elizabeth Short.
Okay, great answer. Uh, Now, The Black Dahlia Haunting has already received lots of great reviews that I've read myself, and it's obviously an excellent movie. My next question was what you think it is about the movie that made it so successful, but I think you've already answered that quite well with what you
Well,
said previously.
yeah, no, there's two answers. There's the answer that, you know, people love true stories, so when everyone knows about Black Dahlia, everyone, you know, they're interested. But everyone caught wind of this shower scene that Devaney and I do, and it's so PG, it's ridiculous. But ain't gonna lie, it's just not to push, and it goes back. People are gonna be like, didn't you just make fun of, you know, girls showing their tits? And there's none of that. It's no frontal nudity. But we just find it funny that we were at ScareCon in 2012, just this past September. And and it was the first time I really experienced ComCons. I'm starting to do that circuit as well. And we had to print out a bunch of pictures and blah, 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 this whole big thing. And I had my very legit, proud actor, you know, Dahlia face. You know, it's like, oh, I'm this character, and everyone's going to want this picture. No, I had like a stack high of my Dahlia face pictures, and all the pictures that we printed for the shower scene. There's this one shower scene where I'm behind Devaney, looking at her because she doesn't know I'm behind her. And it's the shower scene. All of those pictures were gone in 5 minutes.
Oh, well, okay.
So Devaney and I are like, we still want to believe that this is a smart movie, but at the end of the day, people are very interested in this shower scene, which I don't know if people are going to be disappointed or not. But, I mean, even people after the film, you get the guys, you know, that have like all the horror paraphernalia and you know, I've had people come up to me the next day that dressed up as Dahlia, that came up to me with their slit faces saying that they loved the movie, which was very interesting to see at 10 a.m. in the morning when you're signing autographs. And you get, you know, that was some performance. No, I didn't get any of that. It was like, all I get was, yeah, that shower scene. So Devaney and I, we just give up. We just stare at each other and we just say, thank you. Thank you for enjoying that scene.
Yes. There's just not much way to get around that, so I guess.
No, so you know that I'm not the type of gal that likes to say if you can't beat 'em, join 'em. I try my best to beat 'em or be the best, but no, I realize in this situation we had to join 'em.
Right. You just have to bring a few more of extra pictures with you next time, I guess, to be prepared.
Yeah, we have those already.
Okay, good. The Black Dahlia Haunting, I understand, is still playing in film festivals.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you told me that it may be in the Fright Night Film Fest here in Louisville, where I am, and I'll be sure to see it there myself. But
it's being considered. I just want to let you know that we submitted. We did everything legitimately, and we've been submitting to a bunch of places. So Fright Fest is one of our. We hope that happens, but no, it's not in there. Just want to make that clear.
Okay.
It's being reviewed, and if it gets in, fantastic. And if it doesn't, we kiss it up. We feel that we did our best in submitting, and we just we cross our fingers and we've moved on to that. So hopefully we get that call, and if not, we move on. But right now, the film festivals that we're very excited to be part of is, as of right now, is Horror Hound, and that's going to be in Cincinnati. Unfortunately, Devaney and I are not going to be there because the same time that Horror Hound is happening, Devaney and I are going to be at Lone Star Comic-Con, March 22nd to the 24th in the Lone Star State, which is Texas and San Antonio. And that's a Mike Roberts event and by Demented Entertainment, and he put this all together. And he's a big nerd himself because he loves his Mutant Ninja Turtles. So whatever you do, don't talk bad about the turtles. And so he does a lot of the GeekCon stuff, and that's where I sort of fit in also. So I've been lately hitting two birds with one stone because Dahlia is going to be opening night there, which we're very, very excited. So Dev and I are flying in day of, and we have a screening and Q&A that night. And then I'm there for my World of Warcraft Cataclysm Goblin voice character because I'm the voice of the Goblin in Cataclysm.
Okay.
So there's going to be a lot of voice over actors there where I'm going to be with, and I'm also there to promote and pimp Dahlia.
Okay, great. And
Yep.
I am also happy to say that I have my first credit for a movie with the Black Dahlia Haunting on IMDb in the thanks section alongside some of my other favorite people in the business. I'm really happy to see that, and thank you so much, Brandon, for adding me in there. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. No, that's, you're in the family, so get ready to get haunted just like we did.
I am ready. I'm ready.
Yeah, be prepared.
I am. To all the listeners out there, make sure you look for my review of the Black Dahlia Haunting on Space Jockey Reviews. After I see it, of course, it's sure to be here soon enough. Okay, Alexis, you were also in a movie called Blue Caprice. And
Yes.
For anyone who may not know, it's a movie about another actual murder case, the Beltway sniper murders that occurred in 2002, in which the perpetrators drove around in a Blue Caprice, hence the name of the movie. I have also not seen this yet. It's another on my list of movies to see for sure. So, Alexis, tell us about your character in Blue Caprice and how you got that part.
How I got that part was casting director Eve Battaglia, and she has been very, very good to me. Wonderful casting director. I've worked with her before, and she was putting together this movie. She was casting it, and I knew about it, and I actually reached out to her, and she's like, "Well, there isn't really any, roles like parts like any leads or any even, it's a very, short, it's not a big cast." And honestly, like I said, I don't care. I just want to be on set, and I reached out to her and I said, "Look, you know what? Here's the deal. I don't care." I said, just try to get me on set. I don't care. And she's like, "Okay." She's like, "All right, we'll get you in." And so I auditioned for one of the victims, and I auditioned for one role, and about 2 weeks later, I get an email from Eve saying, "Well, you auditioned for the role of the girl that witnesses the victim get shot." So there was I was supposed to be this pregnant girl that witnesses a person get shot, and I just run down. It was like it's a silent bit role, but I'll explain what the scenario is in a second. And I wound up getting the role of the victim. And she's like, it's actually a great part. It's going to be a scene, and you're the victim in the movie. And I'm like, okay. So I was really, really excited. What I want people to know is that it's starring Isaiah Washington. He's also the executive producer, and Joey Lauren Adams Good Lord, I hope I said that correctly because I've been slaughtering her name, the poor thing. I've been saying oh God, I've been saying Joey Lawrence Adams, and everyone's like, Joey's in it? I'm like, oh, no. Joey Lawrence Adams. She's in the film, and some really fantastic New York actors. And the director is Alexander Moores, French filmmaker, Alexander Moores, who always calls me Alexis instead of Alexis, and I just, melt every time he used to call me that on set. But just for people to know, I'm not the lead in the film. I do have one of the roles. I'm very happy they spelt my name correctly in the credits. That's all that counts. But how Alexander did this was that he did not want to make this into a horror film. So he chose only a few actors, a handful of people such as myself, and basically explains how they stalked and killed us. So the scene, especially the last 40 minutes of the film, is quite strong. And I have to be honest with you, as an actor that worked on this set and seeing it at Sundance, because I went to Sundance, Blue Caprice went to Sundance with it, and wonderful reviews. I sat in the audience at 1:00 in the morning with the casting director and the director and the whole casting crew, and we're all there supporting one another with a full standing room only movie house, and experiencing it for the first time and seeing the whole movie, and of course, seeing my scene and, getting nervous and seeing myself get shot. The experience alone, memorable. I'm very grateful. I'm grateful for Eve and the director and everyone for choosing me for this role. It was forever memorable. It was wonderful, and it's still going because I have to head back to New York a little bit earlier because we are going to be opening night for Lincoln Center for MoMA, for the new directors program, this big festival in New York City. We are so humbled. I mean, I'm speaking like I'm the director. I'm the victim in the film, and I'm so excited, and people think I'm full of shit, but it's true. It's like, I'm part of this. I'm happy, so it's like, it's pretty cool. So it's been doing very well. And I wish, honestly, everyone in the movie much success. Isaiah Washington is a underrated actor. He's strong and talented and a sweet, sweet person. So I wish everyone much success with this film.
And I'm assuming, like The Black Dahlia, Haunting, Blue Caprice is also a very fact-based movie. Am I correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And what Alexander did was, like I said, he didn't oversaturate the... he did it very, very smart. I don't know if people are familiar, but once again, you're talking about researching character. Yeah, I don't have lines in this film. I do have a silent, but I do have, not trying to downplay or knock my role in this film, but it is what it is. And I still did research, and the first thing that popped out, and I didn't even know this, was if people that know the movie In Cold Blood, Truman Capote in Cold Blood, that's basically the feel and the coldness and the vibe of the film. And Alexander Moores absolutely recaptured that with his own style and vision. And when watching the movie, it's a very cold and very, you feel like you're riding a wave and you don't know if you're going to fall off or stay on. And it's about time that there are movies that are out there being made like that, because even though we know the ending of the sniper shooting, we know what happens. You really don't know. It's like very interesting how he did it. He gave you a lot of information, and then he didn't give you any information at all throughout the film. And I just thought that was genius.
Yes.
So when I had the opportunity to speak with Isaiah briefly after the screening, we talked, and I said, it reminded me of In Cold Blood, and he said these words to me, and I'm going to beat it like a dead horse because I'm so happy. He looked at me, and he looked at me dead in the eye, and he said, "Well, you did your homework."
Yes. And
I said, and I felt my face turn a little red because I was like, "Oh," I'm like, and he says, because when Alexander pitched, I think, the script, I hope I'm saying this right, God, I hope I'm not slaughtering this, but if I'm not mistaken, Alexander pitched the script to Isaiah, and basically that's exactly what he said. He said, "Think In Cold Blood." Yes. And I didn't know that. So it was like, yeah, you did it. Hook, line, and sinker. Mission accomplished. So that's Blue Caprice. Once again, I'm very, very happy to be a small part in this epicness.
Well, I have to say, I love the way you're excited about just being a part of these movies. That's a great attitude to have. So many people don't look at it that way, and that's the way to see it, I believe, as well.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Thank you. No, after being hooked up to squibs and live wire and being exploded about 4 times, you get humble.
Yeah.
You become humble after the first take. You look at everyone and say, "Oh, okay, they chose me for this part." so you hate me.
Oh. Okay, next I'd like to talk about a short film noir you starred in called Prescott Place. You sent me a
Prescott.
copy. You sent me a copy of this movie. Thank you very much. And I
You're welcome.
confess that I've already watched it a total of 3 times, and I'm sure I'll
Oh.
be adding more times to that because I really like it. In the movie, you are the main character, or characters, I should say. First, a woman, Jane Prescott, who is seemingly, or so she believes, trapped in a house, unable to leave unless a certain man comes to take her away with uh,
Mhm.
with him. And second, you play the part of a doll in the house, a doll that is
Mhm.
soon enough able to talk as well. Tell us what attracted you to this role.
Well, I think you pretty much said it. It was creepy. It was weird. I had to play 2 parts.
Yes.
The words film noir, black and white, and Payleen Quo pretty much sold
Oh,
me. Payleen
okay.
Quo is the film director.
Okay.
She is an also award-winning filmmaker that's putting together a wonderful biopic now of Anna May Wong that I hope to be part of. And she sent me the script. I auditioned. The breakdown said fallen 1940s, fallen star 1940s, recluse. I saw words recluse, baby doll, black and white, and I was like, oh yeah, I get that. Don't ask me why, but it made sense to me. It's like, oh yeah, I can relate to that. I don't know. So cut to with the second and third callback, I got the part, and wow, what an experience,
Yes.
Chris! I
Yes.
cannot tell you the creative experience on this set. And what people don't know is now when you see it for the 4th time, you may see this a little bit differently because all the scenes that I'm in, we did at 4 or 5 in the morning.
Oh, okay.
We all did night shoots. We had to be on set 8 at night, and we wrapped at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
And what we did was we shot the Jane scenes, my scenes. We banged that all out, and then about a week or 2 later, we did CGI. So the baby doll head we did separately.
Oh.
And yeah, so what happened was I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know I was playing the baby doll. I thought even after getting the part, I was in my costume. I was in fitting, and Payleen, I see this headless doll in the room, and I joked around. I'm like, "Ooh, creepy!" I thought I was just doing a voiceover of a baby doll, and she kept it very quiet because that's her. She'll say something like, and I'll be like, "What? We're doing what?" And I think that spontaneity is fantastic. It works best anyway. So I'm in my Jane Prescott outfit, and I see this headless doll, and I'm like, ooh, weird. And she says, please, I don't mean to make fun, but she has broken English. So she says, yes, that's you, baby doll. And I'm like, ooh, weird. So we have to talk about the voice that I'm doing. She said, no, you, the baby doll, your head is that.
Oh, okay.
We're putting your head on that. And I turn around and I swear without exaggeration, I thought all of a sudden it was like a fake movie. I thought like they were going to kill me. Like I was like, what do you mean my head is going on that? Like I was like, what are you talking about? And so yeah, I'm alive. And cut to, she pitched the whole thing to me, and I was so excited, and the experience was absolutely, absolutely wonderful. And for people that don't know, it is a black and white 1940s piece. It's a short film. It is a short film. It's not a feature. And I played Jane Prescott, a 1940s fallen star that becomes a recluse
Yes.
that confides in her baby doll that looks like her, and I also play the baby doll.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
I had a question about the special effects, which were outstanding, but you've answered that very well already. Great answer on that. Because
Thank you.
the team, great job they did with that.
Yeah, no, Paylene was absolutely fantastic. She just, her and her husband, they just knew their stuff.
Well,
Everyone, it was talk about this film especially, every film of course, but this film especially had to be so detailed that the cinematographer and just everyone, we were all on the same page of performing and working, and the lighting had to be precise. And that's another thing. Like, this film had to be precise. It had to be nothing improvised. It was very, very stylized, and she truly, truly recaptured that. And they did such a fantastic job.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love the scene. Well, the scene where he's captured in upstairs, and then
Mm-hmm.
you're in the chair as the baby doll, and it's your face obviously, but then it is still, you can see that it is the doll too. So it was a
Oh,
very
yeah.
nice scene with you as the doll.
Yeah.
The Prescott Place, in the movie, you did a wonderful job with the very dramatic range of acting required to make the movie a success. There was laughing, crying, fear, anger, despair, happiness, jealousy, you name it, all within a single 23-minute film. And you played the part of Jane Prescott with those emotions as if she was actually you. But were there perhaps any challenges that you faced with such a complex role, since it was so dramatic and focused so much on you as the main character in a dual role as well?
No, it wasn't. It really, especially for this script, it just, everything fell into place, and I have to thank everyone that was surrounding me. That basically, it was all about trust, and I think that I go into that with every project. It's all about trust at the end of the day, where you can do no wrong, and if you happen to do wrong, you are with people that will tell you that and make sure. I can honestly say that going into it, I already had it clicked. It just clicked in my brain immediately. The only challenge that I did have wasn't so much the Jane Prescott role. It was the baby doll. That needed to be perfected. I've never did that before. So that was a character I not that I had problems creating, but I was trying to find a voice and find her inside. So if anything, the research that I did do wasn't so much Jane. It was the doll. And I, of course, I discovered this on my own, that, well, Jane is the doll, so it's a mirrored image of her.
Yes.
So I tried my best to make her as real as possible, even though her voice was a bit, higher and so forth, because Jane, even though she was an adult, is a child inside. And if people, they may know this or not, but it's sort of like, not a copy, but it's, whatever happened to Baby Jane, all those 1940 creeper movies. I always wanted to know, when I saw Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, the movie, I always wanted to know what happened. Like, what happened to you to decline like that? Because you get to see in Baby Jane, you get to see a very young Betty Davis, a child actually, and then cut to she's old and wrinkly. But what I wanted to know was, how did she act? What type of a person was she in her prime? And my wish came true, because I was able to portray just that. I'm Jane Prescott is in her prime. She is young. She is attractive. She's a sexual being. She's a child, and you get to see that there's hope. She believes that there's hope, and she didn't lose that yet.
Yes.
And so that was the click for me. especially with any challenge that I had, it was, what happened to you?
Yes. Well, one of the very interesting and attractive things for me about the movie, one reason I watched it more than once, it seems that it has so many different ways to be interpreted. And I'm not sure if that was the director or
Mm-hmm.
writer's intention, but, and of course, listening to what you said, I see that I may be a little off or perhaps not. After watching it the three times, my idea was that the movie was taking place within someone's mind, further within a dollhouse in a fantasy life of dolls, perhaps even within a dream, trying to
Mm-hmm.
resolve repressed memories and emotions. And this was my impression from the opening scene of the house's exterior and just the general surrealistic tone of the movie throughout. And I really believe that that's a possible way to interpret it. So, can you tell me if the director did have a specific way for it to be interpreted, or was it meant to be more open-ended, leaving my interpretation as a possibility?
Well, I obviously it's she left it open
Yes.
because that's Paylene.
Right.
But not to talk for her, but I have a funny feeling like, in projects I'm sure when she was in the editing room, you obviously discover or rediscover your own works that you don't realize that you did in your as a director.
Yes.
So, for instance, if not to give too much away, but a lot of it is in black and white.
Yes.
But as you can see, some of it was in color.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So the question is, why was that in color?
I wondered the same things. It was very intriguing, and I have my own ideas, but I'll also leave that up to the
That's right.
viewers.
So
Yes.
the question to you, the answer to your question is that I kind of can't answer that because I want people to see the film and make their own decision. But did she leave it open? Yes, absolutely. And she did a very, very good job in doing just that. So yes, she did leave that extremely open because everyone has said the same thing with different answers. It's like, oh no, this happened, and no, he really showed finally. And then some people are like, no, what, are you crazy? She's batshit crazy. Like, it's just like, so you get all these answers, and it's great. And you sit down, and they're like, Alexis, what do you think? I'm like, oh, you're never going to get an answer out of me.
Right, that's the way to do it for sure.
Yeah.
And again, to all the listeners, make sure you also look for my review of Prescott Place on Space Jockey Reviews as well. It is certainly scheduled to be there soon enough.
Yeah. Just a quick pimpin' side note. Prescott Place was at the Cannes Film Festival Short Corner in 2011. And we had some wonderful reviews and so forth in New York City and in Fangoria magazine. I didn't write about it. It was Chris Alexander that happened to see the movie. I stalked his life until he finally got to see the movie, and he did a wonderful write-up. Thank you.
Yes.
And as of right now, I just found out that it is going to be screening at ScareCon 2013 in September, which is up at Syracuse, and the super smart and talented and awesome J.B. Johnson put that together, and his lovely daughter Alex Johnson put it together. And I had the opportunity and pleasure to meet and work with them only a few months ago because of Dahlia. And he's actually the executive producer in Dahlia. So he's played a very big part and wonderful part in our successes. And I'm very, very grateful and thankful for him. And so I got an email actually just a few weeks ago saying, yeah, Prescott's going to be there. We're going to be screening it. And I have to be honest with you, it like out of everything, I think because I had such a great experience at ScareCon with my friends, because that's what it was. We just had such a wonderful experience with Dahlia there, and all I thought about was just like having a good time. So when I heard about that, like above all, with all the film festivals and stuff that we got accepted in, when he sent me that email, I was like, yes, I'm so excited. So round 2, ScareCon 2013, Prescott Place is going to be there. Paylene Kuo, the film director, is very, very, very happy, and we're all very excited. So that's Prescott Place still has legs. definitely got the legs going. It's still going, and because of that, Paylene is able to get together her next biopic of Anna May Wong, who is the Asian version of Marlene Dietrich. A wonderful, wonderful piece and wonderful script that I had the opportunity to read. So I'm quite excited about that.
Okay, excellent news, and congratulations to everyone about Prescott Place. That's great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And you also mentioned that you've done some voiceover work for World of Warcraft, and I know you've also done some work in commercials, and you have a great voice for that, by the way.
Thank you.
Could you tell us a little more about your video game voiceover work? Like what characters do you play?
Well, I'm one of the lead goblins in Cataclysm, World of Warcraft Cataclysm. And I'm in Grand Theft Auto Lost and Damned, but that is such a, I don't even know where I am in the game. Like, it's like, that game is a world in itself. I was supposed to go in just for, sort of background voiceover work, and I wound up working with the amazing and super cute Laszlo Jones. No disrespect if he has a wife or anything, but let's just be honest. I was in the booth, and I was a very happy girl because I was able to curse and look at eye candy. It was supposed to just be a few pages, and I'm speaking for me. Who knows what they said about me? But we all clicked, and one page led to another page, and then Laszlo gets on the mic and says, "Alexis, I got to ask you something." And I said, "Sure, what's up?" And I'm in the booth, and he's like, "So, do you think you'd be able to say, would you have a problem?" That's what he said. "Would you have a problem saying the C word?" And I said, "You mean cunt?" "No, not at all." So he just looked at me and smiled and said, "I think I have a part for you." And so what the role is, and I have no idea where it is, so, whoever found me, my voice, let me know, because I have yet to know where it is. And I'm a gamer, so for me not to find it, it's like amazing. But it's around. I play the mayor assistant, because the mayor has Tourette's. And so I always have to speak for him first, because he likes to say "fuck, shit, cunt" before he says his speeches. So I was like, "Oh, that's okay. Everyone just likes to say "fuck, shit, cunt." And I said "fuck, shit, cunt" at least. Laszlo had me do it. Like, you see his finger like rolling in a circle, like, keep saying it, keep saying it, keep saying it. And I think I said "fuck, shit, cunt" without a lie. It was a whole solid minute of me saying "fuck, shit, cunt" differently. Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. And I was hooked ever since. Ever since I did that, I was like, "Oh man, I think I just had a gamegasm." Absolutely.
So, having said that so much, do you ever find it yourself just coming out, just all of a sudden? Do you just yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah. It's I have to tell you, it's been an interesting ride. I'm taking it day to day. I'm enjoying it. I want more, of course. I was talking to someone about this last night. I want more. I want to keep doing good work, be around really great people, and not to sound, fake or anything, but shit, man, I want to see a lot of money now. And I think the whole world agrees that they all want to see money, but no, I'm at a place where it's like, I've always done work, and I've always done stuff that with money attached. So everything that I touch, whether it's $1 or a penny or whatever, or $1,000 or $10,000 or $1,000 or $100 a day, I've always been a working paid actor. But yeah, I'm working, I'm hustling. I want to do good parts and make good movies. And yeah, I want to see money. I want all of us to see money. I want to see my friends and I make money and succeed together and applaud each other and praise each other's work. That is my goal and my prayer every night. I don't want to make it. I want us to make it.
Yes, that's a good way to think. Money is always a goal, and it's always good to get it. Could you give us a sample of one of your video game voices? Your choice, whoever.
Well, I can give you the Goblin, and real quick, it was when I auditioned, they gave me the script of The Sopranos to read. Just a side note for people that are not gamers or geekers, you don't ever want to mess with the nerd mafia. You just don't want to do it. They are very secretive, so before you even set eyes on a script, that you sign a confidentiality agreement, I think the size of a Bible. So I didn't know it was World of Warcraft, so I was going up for Sopranos. And I said to the casting director, because he gave me the script of Tony Soprano, and I'm like, what the heck is this? And I said, look, not for anything. I mean, I can do voices, but I'm like, I cannot imitate Tony Soprano like James Gandolfini. You just can't. And he just looked at me and said, try it. So basically, I realized that what they wanted was real tough New York. So basically, I was a gangster. I'm a goblin that likes to just, shoot the shit and make, deals and what have you. So that's what the goblin basically is. It was a gangster. I played an actual in World of Warcraft. I guess you can say I was a gangster. Anything goes. But then I had the high voice, which I also did, and that's when I say superfragilizalistic, and everybody, and you just talk like this. Time is money. You need both hands for that weapon. So that's my voice, people. You either want to mute it or embrace it.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people on the feeds, they either love it or people just like, oh dear God, that voice just wants me to jump off a bridge, and I'm like, you know what? I don't blame you. I love my character, but I hear it sometimes, and I'm like, whew, whew, whew. It was fantastic. I worked with Andre Toyas, who is the casting director, and directed me in the booth, and love it. Just a fantastic experience.
And with the name Iacono, which is Italian, of course, I'm guessing you also speak Italian. Am I correct?
Yeah, Bafangul. That's basically what I know in Italian.
Okay.
So, no, I'd like to sound more worldly than possible, but no, I do. I pick up accents, I think, pretty well. And when I was in Italy, I spent some time in Italy, in Milan and Venice, and even though it was a short period of time, I got to pick up the language, and also when I was in Spain for a month, because I'm Spanish from the Basque Country,
Okay.
I spent a month in Barcelona and Madrid with my family, because my dad was covering the Olympics there, and I walked the streets of Las Ramblas, and I ate the paella, and I hung out with friends, and I went clubbing, and I wound up meeting wonderful, colorful friends that took me under their wing, and they were wonderful to me, and because of that culture, I picked up the language. So the answer to your question, not to be, sarcastic, do I speak Italian? No. Can I? Yes.
Okay, fair enough, yes. I know.
So that's...
Yeah,
Sorry, go.
No, that's a good. That's a good answer. Very. I noticed recently that you said, and I quote, "I am definitely Alice living in Wonderland." As a coincidence, for Space Jockey Reviews, my main mascot, her name is Arisu, which is a Japanese name translating to Alice, and I chose that because I wanted her to live an Alice in Wonderland life, searching for movies out there in the universe. Tell us about how you are also Alice living in Wonderland.
I can't believe you just said that.
Really?
I know it's not even funny because, wow, really?
Is that a good question?
I didn't know that about you and the Space Jockey. I had no idea.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, no. And it's basically you just answered your own question.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know what it is or was or is because I'm still living in it, but the industry that I chose to be in, especially as an actor, it's every time I'm in LA, every time I land in LA, it's just, and I really cannot explain it. People have to watch the movie to understand, but from the truths to the absolute absurd happen in a split second here in LA. And it's all real. It's not fake. Even though Alice is living in this wonderland and trying to get out, it's this euphoric yet challenging limbo that I live in LA, and in general because of being an actor. And in the movie, I mean, I relate to Alice because there are choices that you have to make for your own destiny in order to get out and to survive. And even though it's only a cartoon and people see it a certain way, because when I was 5, wasn't that smart, I didn't dissect it. But at a young age, I did get it, and I understood her as a young girl, even at 10 and 15, watching the movie. It's funny, even being on the ride in Disney World, going on the teacup, I understood the teacup. I understood going in circles. And even so, more now than ever, being this actor in the industry and traveling and living out of a suitcase and people approaching you and struggling and going up for regular auditions and meeting people. I hate that word networking. I want to meet friends. I don't want to, and I know it's a business and it's all about business. Yes, it's about business. But meeting people and making decisions for yourself, knowing who's saying what, who's the Cheshire Cat that comes in and out of your life, who's the Mad Hatter that spills all this bullshit, and saying it's a Mary Mary on birthday and talking a game and then disappearing and then Alice alone, and then the one thing that I always connected with was the scene where she knew where she was going, so she wasn't lost because she left. There was a certain path that she remembered, but she turned around and she noticed a dog sweeping up the path for her not to know where to go anymore. And as a young girl, and even today, that always stuck with me because I wanted to always make sure that shit sure doesn't happen to me.
All right. That's another good answer. Alexis, what else is currently on your resume that you'd like to tell us about? Anything?
Creature feature, crazy creature feature. I'm so excited.
Right. Okay.
Yay! Yes. The next project that I'm going to be doing is a creature feature with the wonderful Devaney Pinn and Brandon Slagle again, and with Britt Griffith. We are working team again. We still have to see. Brandon is working on a script now. He already pitched me my role, so I'm already working on that. I don't want to say too much about it, but we did some location scouting the other day. Britt and I took a road trip and we drove over to the Salton Sea and Devaney and Brandon, and we just had a wonderful afternoon and had a creative meeting and not giving too much away, but creature feature.
Right.
That's it. It's called the Dead Sea, and it's just this fun film. Once again, Devaney and Brandon pitched it to us. It was like, here's the deal. We just want to keep making movies. We don't want to think too much about it. Obviously, there's going to be thought put into it. It's not going to be like a crap film because, like I said, we don't like to do that. But we want to have fun. If it goes somewhere, fantastic. If it doesn't, we had an absolute ball making it.
Okay.
So she pitched it that way, and I said, tell me when and where. So that is my next project in between the traveling with the ComCons and all this crazy stuff, and that's it. Now show me the money.
All right. Yes, show Alexis the money.
Show me the money.
Show me some too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, creature feature. This must be pretty fresh news because I haven't heard about it before. Am I right? Okay, great.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you're hearing this for the first time, or very fresh news right here on Space Jockey Reviews. Excellent. Is there anything else you'd like to add? This is your opportunity to talk about anything I have not asked.
Wow. Probably there's a yes somewhere, but I think we covered all bases. I'm very happy with the interview. I'm just going to leave it as is.
All right.
Yep.
Now, I have what I call 5 random questions designed to get to know you better personally. So
Oh, dear.
Here they are. I think you will enjoy them. If you could go anywhere in the world you've never been before, or anywhere in the universe, as I always say, since this is Space Jockey Reviews, where would you go and why?
Where would I go? These are very deep questions, Chris.
Now, if you'd like to think about this and let me know later, I can always add it in.
No, I mean I can answer that now.
Okay.
I like to call myself a traveler. I love my Europe. I've already discussed that I've been to Spain and Italy, so I have been around. I don't think it's any place in particular, but I just always see myself. My downtime when I do have that money, and not that money makes everyone happy, because you have to be happy within yourself, but money does help. I just see myself still being surrounded by culture, whether it's in Africa or alone in a waterfall, or just experiencing it within myself in my own room. I don't care if it's a different restaurant, even if it's around the corner. I just want to always be surrounded by happy people that embrace and love who they are and love their culture. And I love to be taught. I don't like to have all the answers, which I'm very happy I don't, because that's just, besides unrealistic, I don't want to know you if you're always have an answer, I love people teaching me, and I don't want that to ever end. I love to sit down and observe and take everything in and learn stuff that I've never experienced in my life.
Okay, I love that answer, and it connects to your excitement, as you mentioned earlier, about just being part of everything and having that appreciation for that. I like that. Now this is a question I have decided will always be a question in the 5 random questions, because I've learned some great new recipes with this question. If you prepared your favorite food for a special guest, what would be on the menu?
Oh, it would absolutely be kale, pasta, and some kidney beans. And how I do it is with some bacon. And what I do is, I'm in love with kale. I can have it every day. I can have it with eggs, pasta, anything. I'm completely addicted. Or I can just eat it with garlic and just scoop it right in my mouth. I make a mean kale. And how I do it, there's 2 ways. But how I do it is, you get a big pot, you fill in the water 3/4 of the way, you let it go to a boil, but in between you add ingredients such as garlic, a little salt and pepper, a lot of garlic, and you wait until a boil, and then you wash the kale, you put it in a colander, you wash the kale, you cut it up a bit because you don't want all the kale in there, you want like the odds and ends out of there. You throw it in there. You let it boil and simmer and stew for about a half hour until it wilts and gets small, because the kale starts out big, but of course with the heat and the water and everything, it shrinks. So you throw the whole kale in. While that happens, how I time it, the last 5 minutes, I put in the kidney beans, put some oil in it, and make that, make sure that gets all boiled and hot. And then the last 5 minutes of the kale, you put the beans inside with the kale, and you stir it up. And then on another pan, I make strips of bacon. And by the time the kale and the beans are all ready to go, the bacon's ready to go. And sometimes I basically, that's my dish. But if you want to add the pasta, obviously you have to get another 3/4 pot and time it the same exact time as the kale. So, but it depends. And I like my pasta al dente, so that's usually a 7-minute simmer.
All right, that's making me hungry already. I'm going to have to fix that myself for sure. If you could travel back in time and interview a famous person from the past, who would it be and why?
I have a few.
A few? Well, okay, go ahead.
I'd love to meet Leonardo da Vinci and Jesus.
Okay.
It wouldn't be anything but just that, just to take it in and just know Da Vinci and his artwork.
Yes.
And I find it very interesting that I like those two people, because if I'm not mistaken, Da Vinci was an atheist. And even though his work reeked of religion and beauty, there was no real, I'm sure he was a spiritual man in order to recapture this, but he was basically an atheist. And then, of course, I go to Jesus, who's obviously the complete opposite of obviously that. But yes, those 2 people, if I were to go back in time, I would want to walk the steps of Italy again, because when I went to Milan, something happened to me in a private sense with my body and soul. It sort of connected, like something weird happened. So I knew that I knew I was there at some point, not to get weird and new agey. I'm not going to get into that, but there was just a certain sense that I connected. So, yes, Da Vinci and Jesus.
Okay. If you could play your favorite character in your favorite movie, what would be the movie and the character?
I'm going to get a little geeky on you.
Okay, go right ahead.
Yeah. But it's hard. It's a difficult question because the film industry, especially the big budgeted films, have not been able to be able to capture this because they have a hard time making a damn good video game into a movie yet. And I think the video game world is learning that they're not settling anymore. So that's why you have not really seen a whole hell of a lot of video game movies. There's maybe homages now more than so. But I would really love BioShock to be a movie because when I started playing the game, and if people are not familiar with BioShock, the original, not BioShock Infinite, the new one, which is also a damn good game also, but I'm talking about Mr. Bubbles and that whole entire thing, Under the Sea. When I picked up that game, I started to do research for Jane Prescott. Now, if people are not familiar with my movie or the game, try to find my movie somewhere. There's on IMDb I have my reel, so a few minutes of it is on my reel. It's the first scene in the reel. And then if you get to play BioShock, I don't know why, but it was very similar to the splicers in BioShock, the video game. And damn, I would love to be in BioShock, and I would love to play one of the splicers.
All right. I would love to see you play that part as well. That would be very interesting.
Yeah, and others. I mean, there's other,
Yes.
Then I'm not going to get geeky, and then there are other roles, but the one that really right now pops out is exactly that.
Okay. Okay, great. Do you think there's life elsewhere in the universe?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's exactly my opinion also.
Yeah, and you can't say no because we don't know.
That's a good...
There's no, we're here, so...
Right. Good reasoning.
Yep.
Okay, listeners, be sure to check out Alexis on Facebook. Follow her on Twitter at Alexis Iacono. See her in the Black Dahlia Haunting, Blue Caprice, Prescott Place, and Creature Feature. Listen for her on World of Warcraft, and be sure to visit her at one of the many conventions she'll be attending. And you can tune into Space Jockey Reviews for the latest about where Alexis will be, as well as news about everything Alexis will be doing in the future. Alexis, this has been another truly out-of-this-world interview. Good luck. Keep Space Jockey Reviews updated with all you do. And again, thank you so much for being here today.
My pleasure, Chris. My pleasure.